Not yet. Still not yet. Now!
What the hell is going on, YouTube? Today we're going to talk more about fan bases. I've had my fair share of videos about like just shitting on fan bases on this channel, and today we're going to be revisiting the Jujutsu Kaisen fan base. I kind of been talking about Bleach and like other stuff on the channel a bit lately, and the hype for Jujutsu Kaisen kind of went down after season 2 came out. I think that was around like what, 2023. It's been like 2 years, right? It's been like like 2 years. Jujutsu Kaisen has been one of my favorite series to release in the past years, the past 10 years of Shonen Jump, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of crazy saying this knowing that the series came out back in like fucking 2017. I was a damn junior in high school, bro. Like I didn't catch onto it until it was about over 100 chapters in, because I was so deep into My Hero Academia at the time. That was like my favorite manga, because of the art style. I love the story, and just like superheroes like with Marvel and DC, it was at like an all-time high in like the mid 2010s. So like My Hero Academia came out at the perfect time, you know, because I was so deep into My Hero Academia. I wasn't really interested in other new series. Like it was probably the only thing I was watching and reading. And fast forward to 2019, I'm a freshman in college for a major I shouldn't have been going for. I had a minimum wage job as a food runner, and I was also worked at Walmart for a bit, and I was also an expert at scaring the hoes with my Super Smash Brothers lineup that I had. that's what I thought at the time. I was off in my own fucking world, man. I was having fun, indulging in the things I wanted to indulge in. I was gaming a lot, watching anime a lot, and Jujutsu Kaisen was one of those things. Season 1 came out, and it was an enjoyable watch. It was in that Exorcist manga genre, kind of like Bleach, Black Torch for anyone who's ever heard or read Black Torch, Demon Slayer. It was cool, and then it ended. Sometime later, the movie came out after season 1, and that was awesome. Like I actually went to the theaters to go see that one. It was like really cool, probably my favorite piece of media from JJK. It was really cool. And then season 2 came out shortly after. Now I think in between seasons, I don't know, maybe a new wave of anime fans appeared or something like. And let me preface with this. This is not going to be the whole video with me just talking about the fucking fandom and shit like that. I'm also going to be talking about just like structural things I didn't like with the manga, how it was written, and just like my frustrations with the manga industry itself. Here's the thing, when it comes to writing it in manga, I feel like people don't ever really consider the fact that these guys have like 5 fucking weeks to continue a story, to come up with a story, to like pretty much keep consistency with that crunch time, you know, going off of like 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, sometimes even like 1 hour of sleep, and trying to stay consistent with the pressure of Shonen Jump and their editors. It's rough, and I'm going to be touching on some of that in this video as well. So, but first we're going to talk about the fandom and the second-hand embarrassment that you can get from a fandom. I kind of already felt this with JoJo. You know, I've been part of a lot of fandoms. You know, I like a lot of things. You know, I felt it with JoJo. I've also felt it with like Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. was a big one, honestly. For anyone that's been in the Smash community, you would know. The Pokemon fandom, a little bit rough as well. And when it comes to the thing is, when it comes to all of those fandoms, like what they all have in common is that you have some really cool like sweet apples. You got those Granny Smiths, and you also have like those very cheap sour red apples, like those red apples that are just sour for no fucking reason. You know, the ones that you just look at, you go like you know. And with Jujutsu Kaisen, it was no different. Of course, this wasn't the only thing that made it painful to be a fan of. I'll get to that later. The first point I want to make is,
if somebody pulled you by your ponytail, like, it sounds pretty hot, but please leave out the TikTok comments. We don't need to know how moist you are.
And these are comments off a Gojo edit. My rose toy flew into my head like Thor's hammer. Gojo is always coming on my bro, I can't be reading these out loud. Does it taste sweet, Gojo?
I spoiled insanely just by scrolling through the internet. Half of Shibuya and the Culling games got revealed to me before the Mecha Mario fight even got animated. They were chatting about Nobara and Nanami before I even seen hidden inventory. Do you know how much disbelief I was in learning about all this information?
Sometimes fans kind of suck. Like, the fans are kind of weird. I've never seen an anime community so thirsty over one character in my life. This guy had the girls and honestly the boys too going crazy for this motherfucker. Like, y'all was going insane over this dude, just panting out of breath. I even saw like a video on Twitter of, and I shit you not, and I'm gonna warn you guys before I say this. Like, it's very disgusting. It was a girl squeezing her fucking tampon blood on a Gojo figure. I shit you not. Like, I'm not gonna repeat it. You're gonna have to rewind the video. I'm not repeating it again. It was so, like, I was scrolling through Twitter, I'm seeing this shit. I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I looking at? This lady was out here trying to make a fucking blood sacrifice or something, bro. Like, I don't know if she was trying to summon this nigga or what, but it was one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And my boy Nanami, my boy got sexualized up the fucking ass for this one. It's not my air fryer.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Alright, stop beeping. My boy Nanami, he got so sexualized, and you know what? Fair game. We sexualize female characters all the time. You know, it's safe to say it's gonna happen to a couple male ones at some point. It was because of this one scene of him beating the shit out of this fucking fanboy here. It was a cool scene when I saw it, and I guess other people thought it was also enough to begin getting their hair pulled at anime conventions by Nanami cosplayers. No, listen, girls can be thirsty losers too. I'm just trying to, I guess we're just evening the playing field, because we make fun of dudes all the time for being fucking thirsty simps, like fucking losers and shit, and I will gladly do the same for girls too. It's all fair game, guys. It's all fair game. We're all fucking nerds here. I'm not the first one to really point this out either. There's been a couple of popular videos and Reddit posts already talking about this subject, and all types of different shit, all types of cans of worms that's related to the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom, which is why this isn't really going to be the whole video. I can go on forever about the fandom. I can make a whole fucking hour-long video, but you know, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. You can look at the length of a lot of my videos. I don't like talking for that long. You ever just get tired of talking? You know, there's gonna be at some point where I get to the end of the video and you guys are gonna know, like, I'm gonna be losing energy, my mouth's gonna be getting dry. I'm gonna be like, guys, I'm tired of fucking talking. I'll see y'all later. But yeah, another part about the fandom is, you know, this kind of manga kind of attracts power scalers. There's a lot of power scaling from the community for this fandom, and I get why. You know, the power system is interesting. It's a very cool power system. It has very cool fights, and they get used this power system very well. But you know, when it comes to power scaling topics, I usually avoid those with a 10-foot pole most of the time. I never really like to get into that realm of anime discussion, of media discussion, because you get into the, like, oh, well, let's calculate the speed of light, let's calculate like the joules, the fucking PSI of Hollow Purple and shit. Like, I'm not trying to do math, guys. I can't. Like, I can't fucking do it. But yeah, I'm gonna leave the fans alone for a bit. I'm gonna talk about just my experience as a fan myself. Like, just going along through the manga every week, just reading every single chapter. You know, going through those breaks with Gege. He used to just go like 3 chapters in one break, like pretty much every month, and even just going along with the anime, because it was a good experience, like to say the least. You know, but you know, there was a couple of hiccups here and there. I'm gonna start with what I like about Jujutsu Kaisen, just like similarities to what it has with other manga and anime. So Jujutsu Kaisen, like, from what I can tell, it shares structural DNA with Hunter x Hunter and Bleach. But it lacks, in my opinion, it lacks their emotional breathing room. And what I mean by this is that in newer anime and manga, it's a lot faster in terms of the pacing. It can be really cool because we can just jump straight into the action. We can get right into the point, but we kind of miss a lot of that time we could spend with the cast of characters. I would honestly be fine with just a little bit of filler with JJK's anime if it meant adding more depth and development to the characters, similar to what we got for Nobara back in season 2 before she got slapped in the face by Mahito. because I'm definitely gonna talk about spoilers. Nobara does not come back for a while after this encounter with Mahito, and it was very frustrating. You know, if you were a Nobara fan, like, it was very frustrating. I think we didn't see her for like over 190 chapters or some shit. Like, I'll put it up on the screen. It was a long fucking time. The plot just kind of moves on without her. Everything is just going so fucking fast, which is it's great for this brain rot era that we're in, like this TikTok era that we're in, where most of the discourse on anime is power scaling, aura, and fight edits, and there's just not enough substance to what's going on, and at least not to my liking anyway. I think a lot of the fans kind of adopted the same opinion later on when it came to everyone's favorite, Satoru Gojo. I didn't really see a lot of people expressing the same opinions on characters like Yuki, but I will agree that, yeah, the way Gojo just kind of died, he literally just got fucking off screen. It was a crazy day. I remember people talking about this fight like it was the Rumble in the Jungle, Ali versus Frazier, Mayweather versus Pacquiao, Izzy versus Pereira. We had people rooting for Sukuna and another side rooting for Gojo. And when Sukuna won, the memes, the trolling, the rage bait was insane, but it was funny as hell now that I'm looking back on it. But yeah, this death was it was brutal, man. We got a lot of care when it came to the fight, what the characters were doing and how they were doing those things, but we don't have that same emotional aspect like shows like My Hero Academia, shows like Dragon Ball, shows like One Piece. And yes, we get a lot of thought and care that goes into the battle system and how the powers works, but let me tell you guys something. Power scaling and power systems do not equal story. I see many times where, you know, let's say you're having a conversation with me. I've had this conversation many times where people say, "Oh, Zoe Psycho, check out this story," and they're explaining the premise, and all there is that they're saying is just what the MC can do, what the villain can do, and what their powers are. And that doesn't really get me interested in anime, especially when the powers get insane, when we start getting into abstract concepts, and if that's all there is to the story, my immersion gets kind of broken, you know. JJK has interesting enough characters to the point where I'm not just completely checked out, but at some point during the Sukuna battle, I just kind of stopped reading. Shit became Sukuna Kaisen with the amount of ass pulls. I mean, biting vows that Sukuna kept doing. Also, it just seemed like there was just no accumulation of damage at all from Sukuna fighting everyone. I mean, that's what it was said, but it wasn't shown. And I remember when I said that one thing I like about older shonen anime was that they give you time to breathe. Yeah, Gege said, fuck all that. Like, I don't know if they was just trying to push more manga sales. They was just trying to keep going. Gege was just trying to go balls to the fucking wall. And that shit can be fun. But I'm like, damn, like, it would have been cool to see the characters just hanging out a bit more. Like, I live to see that shit, man. To see the characters outside of life and death situations, that stuff is... I kind of like that stuff. You know, it might not be very good for manga sales, but it makes for a well-balanced story, in my opinion. Like, for example, I'm going to assume we're all familiar with Dragon Ball here. I think the filler in the Cell Saga was good. Now, a lot of people might not even recognize it as filler because we've only watched the anime. There were filler episodes like Goku and Piccolo going to get their license, Gohan and Goku spending time together in the chamber, everybody kind of just spending time with each other or going off to train during those 10 days Cell gave everyone to prepare for the tournament. I kind of like shit like that. I'm not sure if newer anime fans who start with Jujutsu Kaisen will like something like this. And on that topic of action, JJK does it well. It honestly has some of the best choreographed fights that I've ever seen on paper, and I think a lot of other artists can learn from it. But like I said, you know, there needs to be a lot of substance to that style, a lot more than just what we get behind the power system. I remember seeing this, it was this video by Super Eye Patch Wolf, and they talked about when it comes to manga, they usually go one or two ways when it comes to how they approach fights. It's like the technicality side, and there's the emotional side. So for emotional fights, you usually see that in stories like One Piece, stories like My Hero Academia, and Dragon Ball. For technical fights, we usually see that in stories like Hunter x Hunter. I would say a bit of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I would say like a good in-between is Naruto. Honestly, I think Naruto does both pretty fucking well. And I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen probably could have done a little bit more of that. I know it's easier said than done. but it would have been pretty cool. But yeah, I think because of the way the story was structured, it kind of invited a lot of people to just kind of look at the fights. Like when it comes to a lot of discussion about what's going on in JJK, a lot of it was just like, a lot of what I would see would be like those CJ the Champ style videos. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know, I kind of made a video about this. I'll probably play it right here, actually.
I'm also getting tired of these fucking recap guys. They're all the fucking same. Toji has Black Forest energy. Sugino is a menace. Such and such has aura. Yuji got that dog in him. Mahito is a menace. I'm not gonna act like I'm not a low-key gatekeeper, because I totally am. A lot of you niggas are just fucking CJ the Champ clothes, and I hate it.
We're seeing a lot of that, and you know, I just wasn't seeing a lot of interesting things being talked about with the anime in the manga. Fucking leaks, bro. I forgot what their name was, but on Twitter they was able to leak the manga scans like a couple days early. I don't know how the fuck they were doing that, but a lot of stuff got leaked in JJK, which kind of, I guess it kind of just shows how much hype there was to the story. But at the same time, like for those who kind of hated seeing leaks, it was just waiting for the next chapter was kind of rough if you were an active internet surfer. If you were an active Twitter user and you like JJK, you would like, I had a lot of words muted just to avoid spoilers. It was kind of rough.
What you should include in there is that this shit dates back all the way to Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super chapters used to get leaked so heavily, it was crazy.
They'll be showing the fucking scans and shit.
Yeah, like they after Moro. I remember after the Moro arc, we took a little break, right? And then like the next chapter was Goku training with Whis, and then he just went into UI. I remember that was the first scan I seen in the chapter by accident.
Damn.
Everybody
I remember seeing like a scan of fucking Ultra Ego.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck?
I still remember when, like, before they even talked, like, Ultra Instinct came out, there was, like in the top, like, left where they had their logo, they had, like, a Ultra Instinct Goku there, and I didn't even know what it was until later. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like,
you know,
so I was like, oh, so that's what it
like
was.
I said, like, this isn't just, like, well, I'm gonna be honest, JJK is the one who started this, like, okayness. It's weird. The community gave it like a big thumbs up for people to do this. That the Japanese government had to legally send people out who was possible like threats to leaking
because
their, like it was so fucking bad, bro. It was so bad. It was just like it was just I gotta say it was kind of like one of those things where like damn, like you couldn't wait for the nether chapter. You couldn't, like, you just wanted more kind of thing. But like, bro, I'm telling you, it wasn't just one leaker. It wasn't just two leakers. It was a community of these niggas,
a community of leakers,
Like, and it was a community of these niggas that could translate Japanese. So it's not even like, like you just looking at the scans and you don't know what's going on. You knew what was going on.
You know exactly what was going on.
And then now they doing that shit with Kagero Bachi, Blue Lock. Like, these niggas, you can't escape no more.
The product Jujutsu Kaisen was pissed out for 6.5 years, nearly 7 years if you include the serialization of the special issues, and what I learned was, I really am an idiot. I was, of course, pushing myself to the limits to pull out everything I could from my creations, and after about 3 years of serialization, my already rough personality began to become absent-minded. Even though I was complaining that I'm fed up with having things pointed out to me that could be figured out by looking up on the internet, I still made the mistake of volume 18 with the sand spin. I really greatly troubled all my editors, Katayama-san, Ikeda-san, and Fukuda-san, the volume manager, Yanagira-san, the designer, Shino-san, and my assistants. Speaking of being in trouble, I believe I put quite a bit of stress every week on the editorial department and everyone at the printers. I really apologize greatly for that. When it comes to like my issues with the story, you know, I'm not gonna shit on Gege like too much for it. Like, honestly, like when I say I don't like something a lot about a story or about like an anime, I don't really want it to be a personal attack on the author, because I know how the fuck that is, like just trying to push it out, just trying to like get something out there when it comes to like writing, when it comes to like artwork and stuff like that. I'm an artist myself, just trying to publish something for people to see. it can be a bit rough, so I kind of give them a little bit of grace when it comes to that stuff, you know, because it's a rough industry, and I can definitely feel the pain from Gege, like on these pages, bro. I think there was like a chapter where like his style was like usually pretty scratchy, but it was like abnormally scratchy for that chapter, and I don't really fucking blame him. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so when it comes to like JJK being pissed out, as that post will put it, kind of felt like that, especially with that last volume. Like I feel like we could have, like I said, if we just had a little bit more time, if we just showed the aftermath of what happened after the Sukuna fight. I talked about this in my Bleach video, just getting those in betweens after arcs, just getting a time to breathe, just to show what the fuck the characters are feeling about what just happened. I think that could be very crucial and can give a lot of closure to like some of the fans reading the shit. It was, I go lie, like it was a big thing that was just painful for me reading the manga. But hey, I can go on about this forever. I want to know what you guys think in the comments section below about JJK. Just like go over your experience, tell me what you think about the series and what you think about the fandom, and like where you kind of place yourself, where do you kind of fit in to that fandom. And hey, if you want to just call me a dumbass, you know, that's fine too. I'll be back with another one pretty soon, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.